Yo, what's good?
What's up, everyone? It's the Club of the Fight.
But you already knew that. Got a lot to talk about today. Podcast number 5, correct?
Yeah, it's number 5.
Damn, we've been doing this 5 times already.
It feels like we've been doing this a lot longer, right?
Yeah. A lot of things going on. One of the big things that is buzzing about New York City, Webster Hall is coming back.
Yeah, man. Big comeback. We were just talking about Webster Hall.
We were just talking about it in our last podcast about all these clubs closing down in New York City. So it feels really good to be able to announce that here about a legendary club, our favorite club, hands down.
It's like a rising phoenix coming from the ashes. Like it's like one club closed and then another one that used to be around and was so credible, just like rose from the ashes, and now it's back like a phoenix.
It's absolutely.
I wonder though, Mysterio, do you really think they're gonna go back to the old business model, or do you think they're gonna revamp it? And
Unfortunately, everybody I've been talking to says the same thing. Like, it's not gonna be the same. Everybody who discusses Webster Hall with me prefaces the conversation with, it's not gonna be like it used to be. But nothing's like it used to be. The most we can hope for is it gets close. I mean, I don't really know who's going to be in charge over there. Is Kenny coming back? Is Alex English going to be there?
Well, the people you're mentioning are people that used to run some of the events for Girls and Boys, which was a promotion company that started at Webster Hall. And yeah, they would do the Girls and Boys nights on Fridays. And Kenny is one of the, I think he was one of the GMs, actually. Gerard, Kenny.
Kenny went to Slake after Webster. And, I mean, Kenny's at a couple different places. Not sure what he's doing now. But he's always doing stuff. But, yeah, I don't know with the same management.
I was talking to Voodoo Bounds, our graphic designer, and he was saying that judging by the graphic design of the logo, he thinks they might be going for a more lounge vibe. And, they're owned by, I think it's Live Nation. I'm not too sure. I think it's Live Nation, but they're still going to be part of the Bowery Presents umbrella. And for those of you that don't know, Bowery Presents is a company here in New York City that owns. It's a chain, and it owns a chain of venues, including Webster Hall. So, and I believe Terminal 5 is also one of them, but. Yeah, it's interesting. They might just go with the hard ticket approach, Mysterio, and I think a lot of the shows at the venue are just going to be big concerts, big concerts that are hard ticket, hard ticket shows. You just gotta get tickets on Ticketmaster or whatever, StubHub, and just show up. I don't think they're going to have regular club nights. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they go back to that. That would be awesome.
At least designate one day of the week. Something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was an exciting thing I wanted to announce. I'm gonna pull out a phone here because another thing that I just read about when I was online this morning, Deadmau5 is actually scoring a film.
Is he?
For Netflix. Let me get the name of the film real quick because I don't remember it right now.
I always thought Deadmau5's music was very atmospheric and would work well for a soundtrack. It's good that he's doing it. I had no idea, actually.
Polar. The name of the film is Polar.
It's probably a science fiction.
Which is ironic, because some people may say Deadmau5 is bipolar. But,
Terrible.
But it's interesting. I like that, and I want to see more of that. DJ producers scoring films. Obviously, the big guys have done it. Daft Punk did Tron for Disney.
Tron Legacy.
A few years ago.
Yep.
Tron Legacy, correct. I know, what was it? Rubber, Mr. Oizo.
Mr. Oizo. Viva la France.
Yeah. And then you saw on lesser levels, you've seen DJs.
What about Kavinsky, man? Kavinsky also scored Drive.
Kaminsky scored Drive.
I think he did the main theme song, which was.
I mean, you would know. You were actually in the theater at the premiere.
I was there,
sitting next to Skrillex and Kaminsky.
And Munchie. Yep.
That's such a good story. You want to tell it quick? Just Kaminsky's excitement when this song came on. Just tell us.
So yeah, we were at the theater. I was there with Skrillex's road manager, Roadhog, Skrillex, and Munchie, and we got invited to the premiere of Drive in France with Kavinsky. And Kavinsky, for those of you that don't know, is this really crazy French guy, and he invited us to this premiere, and we were sitting next to him, and then the song that he created for the film opens up the film in the opening title credits. So the movie just started, and Kavinsky just gets up from his chair and he's like, yes, and he puts up his arm in the air, and he's like obstructing the view for everyone behind him because we're sitting in the front row. And all of a sudden he starts tapping Skrillex on the shoulder, and he's like, this is the song, Skrillex, this is the song. And Skrillex is like, he doesn't know. He's just like,
for sure. Yeah,
he looks super nervous. He's like, oh my God, what's he doing right now? And we're all I'm looking over at Moochie, and I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? So all of a sudden you hear this guy going, shh, from behind us. And it's, apparently we discovered later that it was a French critic, a very famous French critic for French films. And he was at this premiere, and then Kavinsky tells him something in French. I don't know. I don't know what he was shouting at him.
I'm sure it wasn't anything flattering.
But after the film,
something along the lines of "Go F yourself."
After the film, he was having a smoke outside of the theater, and we were standing with him. And then all of a sudden, the French critic walks out, and he's like, "Les sacre bleu."
That's a direct quote.
Pardon my French, guys, but yeah, he spouted something in French to the guy, and then he just spits at him and flicks his cigarette at him. Kavinsky, yeah, he spat at the critic and flicked his cigarette at him. And he was about to, straight up, we were about to get into a brawl, man. We were all looking at each other. We're like, oh, damn, we're going to get arrested in France.
You guys
sucks.
Yeah.
But long story short, he told us, this is the problem with the French cinema. The critics, they ruined the cinema. But in reality,
it begs the question: is the critics the problem, or is it like rowdy moviegoers?
I think the problem was a rowdy, overly excited Kavinsky.
I love that.
I have stories for days about Kavinsky, man.
I like this, man, because we always get there's always business to talk about in these podcasts, but we just wanted to shoot some shit early on, give you some funny stories.
Hope you guys enjoyed that story.
Hope you enjoyed it. That one is one for the books. The grandchildren are going to hear about that one. But now on to the more pressing matters, the main reason for this podcast today. Today we want to talk a little bit about the daddies out there, the parents, the daddy DJ producers. Because, it's never easy balancing your life, right? You always have your professional life. And then you have your other life, which can include your girlfriend, your wife, your children, your love child, whatever it may be. Your responsibilities outside of the clubs, correct?
Your pets.
So, it's very interesting to me because I'm seeing more than I ever did before. Social media that these producers that have children are starting to actually show and shed some of that light of their private lives into their brand. Diplo, for instance, around the holidays, I saw a lot of videos he did with his son. One of them, it was really funny, it was cute. He was singing like a Christmas song to his son, but parlaying it with the real stuff that was going on between them at the time. You don't want to be here right now, it's Christmas. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was cute. But my point is that we are starting to see that more. And I gotta believe it's because it is so hard to separate the two. At a certain point, you say, it's probably easier to just put the two together. Why not? So I'm spending time with my son, enjoying that time. Why not take a video of it, put it in my brand? The children, I'm sure, excited to be a part of it, to be a part of, the social media, and then they can go back and look, Daddy, how many views did it have? Do people like it? Are they commenting? So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone.
You're involving them.
Yes, you're involving them. Yeah. Spending quality time, you're making memories, and you're not neglecting your fan base.
True.
You're letting them in, so...
You're giving them like an inside look at their private life, and that's what social media is all about nowadays, right? Giving giving fans an intimate look at your private life. I mean, that's what the fans really love. I mean, we know that firsthand because our fans love whenever we do skits that involve like real life situations.
Sure.
So it's very interesting, and it's not just happening. I know this particular podcast focuses on electronic dance music, but I'm even seeing that in other genres too. Like I saw Ozuna, who's a reggaeton artist who recently collaborated with DJ Snake on Taki Taki, and if you go on his Instagram, it's like flooded with pictures of his wife and his children. I mean, maybe it was because it was the holidays recently, but I think it's a beautiful thing seeing it all across the board, right? Not just in electronic music, but everywhere. Like all artists are taking note, and they're proud and they're showing off their family, that they're family men or family women, like that they have a family. And I think it was taboo to do that for a while in the music industry. Like when we were growing up, Mysterio, we would never really see artists displaying their private life like that, right? Because I mean, social media wasn't even a big thing when we were growing up, but it was kind of taboo though. It was like, no, you have to if you're an artist, you have to pretend like you're single, even if you're married, or even if you're in a relationship. You can't let the fans know that, because that's going to diminish your brand, and that's going to hurt it ultimately. It's going to hurt sales. It's going to hurt ticket sales. It's not good for business. But that's changing now.
It's changing. This ties into our last podcast. We're talking about homosexuality in dance music, and how producers are able to come out with that knowledge. It really ties in the same way. Before, like I said, he was saying, you're a sex symbol. They really did not want you to talk in any capacity. They wanted you just to remain a sex symbol. So it's a beautiful thing that people are allowed now to really show and not only allowed, but encouraged to show their real life, show their real partners.
And this is something that we've known about for a very long time. We have a lot of friends in the music industry that are fathers. For example, Bro Safari, whom we've toured with.
Yes.
A few years ago.
Henry Fong,
etc. Yeah, just to name a few. But I want to focus on Bro Safari for a bit, because I remember a few years ago when we were on the Bros Gone Wild tour with him, he was just constantly checking up on his kid, man, like calling his wife. And just, for me at the time, I was a lot younger. I was like, wow, like I aspire to be someone like this guy one day. I want to be like Bro Safari, like be able to juggle both, be able to be on the road and still be a family man. Because whenever Bro would go home, like he was like fully immersed in within in that lifestyle with his family, fully entrenched, with in regards to his family. Like he became the family man whenever he was home.
I remember that exact day you're talking about, and I idolized him as well when he was talking to me about he was going to play a Holy Ship or a really big show, and within the same conversation he was telling me about that weekend he was planning a trip to take his wife and children to Disney World. And I was just like, wow, this is the ultimate dream. That he has his cake and eat it too. He has his family. He gets to take trips. And at the same time, his music career does not seem to be failing at all, taking a hit. I mean, the guy is, you can go on his social media. He's playing shows. Still has a huge fan base. He still, puts out his music. It's a beautiful thing, because I think there was a time where people looked at DJs like, nah, no way. It's one or the other. Either you're going to be a DJ or you're going to be a family man. Like, the two don't go together, right? Like, with that grueling schedule, everyone talks about all the women being thrown at you and the alcohol and the drugs. Basically, just the nightlife scene being so taboo that it's impossible to include wife and children, delicate matters like that, within the same sentence. But I'm seeing it, and I think that's a beautiful thing, because it's being normalized, right?
The archetypes are changing.
The archetypes are changing, and it really is being normalized and starting to become like it's a job. It's a job that you could actually aspire to. I don't think that in 1989 a kid would stand up in class when the teacher was going around the room. What do you want to be when you're old? I want to be a fireman. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a movie star. I want to be a DJ. I want to be
Yeah.
a DJ producer. I don't know that happened a lot in 89, but I would certainly not be surprised if that's happening in 2018. I'm sure it is.
Absolutely. I'm sure
So
it is.
it really is being normalized as a genre, as a job, as it's
Or not even just a DJ, but a producer, a music producer.
but
because
DJ
technology
producer.
has just facilitated so much now for these kids to just pick up software and learn how to make music on their own. They can go. They don't even need to go to school for it. They can just go on YouTube, search tutorials, and bada bing, bada boom. Like they're the next big thing.
Which brings us, to the next issue now with the kids. If you are a young kid, right, and you have these aspirations, and you want to be a producer, as much as this is being normalized, and the kids are being privy to the fact that, yes, this could become a reality. I've seen other people do it. This could become, who's not exactly catching up as quickly? It's still the parents. I still think it's a struggle between young, aspiring DJ producers and their parents. I went through it when I was younger. I know you did. We've talked about it. Parents don't always see the monetary possibilities of it. They still don't take it seriously like that or realize what it could become. And it's not that they're assholes, it's not that they're dicks. They simply love their children. They want the best for their child. Yeah. Also, they look at it like, I don't want to be supporting this kid when he's 30 because he can't get a fucking, he can't support himself because he's still trying to do this music thing.
Mysterio, I'm curious. You touched upon something really interesting.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, though. When you were growing up, did you aspire to be a DJ or a hype man? Because when I met you, you were a DJ. You were opening for Skrillex and Zedd and Porter Robinson on the Oslo tour. But what did you aspire to be? Did you just want to be a performer, or tell us about that? And how did your parents react?
I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, man, it was always my biggest thing was performance. I wanted to be able to divulge energy and get that energy back in any ways I could, right? So I was experimenting with a lot of different things, trying to find what that pathway would be, what would give me the most satisfaction, so to speak. And I'll be honest, a lot of people ask me now, they're like, yo, get back on the decks, go back to DJing. The reason I kind of formed this was because, to be honest, it didn't do for me what it does to some of you other guys when I speak to you. And don't get me wrong, love the music, love all that, but I wasn't getting... What are you doing here?
No slapping.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't getting that satisfaction as much from just straight up DJing.
You know who was getting satisfaction at the time?
Benny Benassi?
Yep.
I don't think he was.
Nailed it.
You know who wasn't getting satisfaction at the time? Mick Jagger and the Stones. Can't get no satisfaction. But yeah, for me it was different. But why am I going on a tangent about myself? Oh yeah, you asked me.
I asked.
For me it was different, but it was the same struggle with the parents though. Even more so, they were like, you don't know what the fuck you want to do. I'm an entertainer. I want to entertain. What do you mean you want to do? What are you going to do? You don't do tricks. What are you going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to make people feel something, make people happy, make them enjoy themselves, make them hyped. I don't know. But
they were probably saying, to quote my girl, "Where's the money?"
Where's the money? That's what I'm saying. But that's my point. My parents could not fathom that possibly I could create my own lane, that I could do something that maybe didn't exist in my own way, and get people behind me and carve my own path. They couldn't see that, and how could they? School teachers and engineers, or if your parents are a doctor, they knew concrete jobs, right? They knew jobs that existed, jobs that their friends did.
Yeah.
City jobs. Go to sanitation, take the list, take the test, get on the list. It's a long, long way. Just
Parents always want you to play it safe.
They want you to play it safe.
Of course,
It
because
is a
they're looking
good-
out for your well-being. They want you to have a safety net.
The best quote from anybody on the issue is from who? SAV? Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Jim Carrey spoke about it at a college, And he spoke about it through a story about his father. He said his father wanted to be a comedian, right? And, but this pressures of having to provide for the family caused him to not pursue it. He stayed with his job. A year later, he got laid off. And that's when Jim Carrey said, I realized at that moment that you could fail at doing what you don't want to do. So you might as well take a chance at what you actually want to do. I mean, I paraphrased it a bit, but when he saw that his father gave up on his dreams to stick with the safety net, the safe job, sometimes the safe jobs can crap out. And that's what happened to his father.
But Mysterio, where do you draw the line though? Like if you've been at it, let's say you're a kid, that's fine. You're young, right? You have your whole life ahead of you. If you're 16 years old and you're making music and you're still living under your parents' under your parents' roof, it's okay, right? You're not paying rent, so you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Sure.
And you're still going to school, so you can still have, a job at McDonald's or whatever, and come home and make music, and you don't have to worry about having to provide for a family or anything because you're a kid. But what about the producers that are maybe mid to late 20s or early 30s, whatever, and now they're thinking about, okay, wow, I need to start thinking about having a family one day, settling down, getting married, or maybe they're getting married, and maybe they're planning on having kids, or maybe they have kids.
Sure.
But their career's not taking off. When do is there a time limit, you think? Like, is there's
a time limit to how you spend your time. So when you're living at home, like you said, in your 20s or even earlier, you have the time and the luxury, especially if you're not paying rent, to put all your time and energy into making that music to make it happen. But yes, if you're going into 27, 28, nearing your 30s, you're still in this position. I do not think it's time ever to give up on the dream, but you definitely have to navigate through life and the waters. I had all types of jobs in the beginning, it didn't take off right away. And you can't be afraid to take those jobs. And, your side jobs, you always need money coming in. But make sure that you're managing your time right. So if you have these jobs, you work in a restaurant or you're working at a McDonald's, 10, 12 hours, listen, you're going to be tired. You need to choose what's more important to you. Maybe you can't have a girlfriend right now, because imagine having a girlfriend, side job, and doing the DJ, the producing, and all that stuff on the side, trying to get gigs in the clubs. I know some people are doing that. It's stressful, especially living in New York City. Hey, if you can do that, kudos to you. I know that I wasn't dating when I was, working these side jobs and doing the whole Fight Club thing.
A small sacrifice for a greater good.
Sure. So that's what changes, the time management. Really focusing on what are the important things.
Prioritize.
I never tell somebody that it's time to call it quits, ever. But you only know your own life and what you're capable of and what you need. And if maybe it's more important to you that you focus on, getting a girl, a wife, you want kids. If it's something that you'll know when you can't do it anymore. When you look in that bank account, when you're seeing red, when, your girl's starting to get antsy and you're going to lose her if you don't pop that question and she's worth keeping, and you've done it all. You've tried every route and nothing. You'll know. But I don't know anyone personally now that's at that point. It has to be a very extreme situation.
I think time management also...
If you're 50 years old and your liver's giving out, and, there's issues and your health's an issue, or like Munchie, for instance, had a head trauma, head issues, could have an aneurysm at any time, it's probably not in your best interest to be performing in clubs with the woofer woof, 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 right in your ear. You know your situation. And you just have to be a human about it. You have to really always know how to navigate through life.
As I was saying.
Did I ramble?
You just interrupted me, but good point.
Sorry.
Good point nonetheless. I think you're absolutely right. I was saying that time management becomes pretty integral as well. Like recently, I created a calendar for us, right? Because my girl's way more organized than I am, so she helps me coordinate and organize my time. Because Mysterio and I are not the best at time management. So it's good to have someone, a third party, come in and step in and really like stay on top of you as far as like scheduling when you're going to produce music. For those of you that have jobs, let's say, and or are going to school or have a family, whatever, like I know a few really talented producers right now and singers that have families, you know, and they're young. They have a wife and kids. And they're still going at it. Like you just said, Mysterio, like they're not giving up, but they're definitely managing their time wisely, you know? Like I see, I go on their Instagram and I see like they're constantly on the grind, man. They're in the studio, and when they're not in the studio, they're with their family, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, right? And when they're not with their family, they're back in the studio. You know, I never see them at a club with a bottle in their hand, like, yeah, you know, living the life. Or, you know, taking a trip somewhere. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, you need to also set some time aside for, you know, for life in general. You have to enjoy life as well. But I'm saying, like, the people that don't have that luxury, I see them on the grind, and things are slowly starting to happen for them. And that's what I'm referring to. Time management is very important. What you do with your time and how you manage it is extremely important if you're an aspiring artist in general, not just producer or DJ. But if you want to be an artist in the industry, the music industry, you really have to know how to schedule your time wisely, because it's very important. It's crucial, man. It's very crucial, very integral.
And no one thing works for any one artist. You know, different depends on the person you're on, what works best for you. Like I said, I mean, the most powerful, influential, doing it right now in our scene, in our world, is Diplo. Diplo's got two kids, I believe. I'm not sure what his marriage situation is. And then you got guys like Valentino Khan and Dylan seem to be very unattached to anybody, any one person. I mean, Dylan might be dating La Hora now.
Hey, I don't know. Those are rumors.
Oh, maybe not. But for the most part, for a long time, those guys don't seem to be attached to any one thing, and their careers are flourishing, right? And get to see that they're having a lot of fun. So I guess it depends. They're both possible. Then you got guys like Benny Benassi, a grown-ass man.
Is Benny Benassi married? I don't know. I don't really know much about, because he's from the old school.
That's
so
something I should have looked up before the podcast.
He doesn't.
I apologize.
Well, look it up now. Go on Instagram.
Let me look it up now.
While you do that.
I hate to do that because I was just looking something else up, because it just looks kind of.
I highly doubt Benny. I could be
Shit.
wrong. I highly doubt Benny Benassi puts his social life on social media, because he's from the old school.
Oh, he's old school. He doesn't do that.
You know what I mean?
I believe he's married. I'm gonna find out now. I recall him being married.
I have a really bad example that doesn't really augment to what we're talking about, but David Guetta was married to his manager.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he met his wife in the 90s, early 90s, and you know, he ended up marrying her, and then she ended up managing him for most of his career. And I think up until like maybe 5 years ago, they got divorced. And yeah, I mean, I'm the reason I'm bringing that up is because, you know, some people also take that route, right? They involve their partner in their business.
That's not always good.
And yeah, you know, I think it's a tricky balancing act, but it is possible.
You know, I'm not seeing anything on here. A family.
Mysterio, what advice would you give an aspiring DJ producer, like a kid that's 15 years old right now, living in I don't know, in
Iowa,
in the Philippines, let's say, you know, or in Jakarta, someone that doesn't really have a lot of resources, you know, and is maybe living in a third world country, as opposed to the advice you would give someone that lives in a first world country and has a lot of resources. You know, because I think we have to break it down like that, right? Like there's two different types of aspiring artists in this world.
But what do you mean? Like, if they're in a third world country, do they not have access to internet?
Obviously, I'm sure they do. I mean, like everyone.
Depending where they are.
Well, obviously, this podcast wouldn't reach them, and I'm saying, for those that do,
Well, sure, because that's why.
Because
Well,
the advice
it's those
you,
that don't download VPN Monster.
I'm saying the advice you'd give an aspiring DJ producer that lives in a third world country would be drastically different from the one that lives in a first world country.
I mean, then you give that advice because I really wouldn't give that much different advice. They're still. The rules stay the same.
Do they really? I don't know about that.
I mean, especially we're talking about, hey, how is music these days? How is it get out there? You know, you through these means. You know, you have the social media. These are the outlets. You have your SoundCloud. You know, you have the same outlets, and you have the same. The only difference, I guess, would be physically. You have maybe less opportunities to meet and network. I would say that's the only major difference that can really come to my head. I don't know. You kind of stumped me with that one. What would you do? What would you tell them differently?
I mean, if you're a kid in Jakarta, right, or in the Philippines, or anywhere like anywhere in any part of the world that doesn't have a lot of resources, or is not very westernized in a sense. And what I mean by that is that I learned a lot when I went to Asia. There was a seminar called Wired Music Week, and I was invited to give a couple of panels, participate in a couple of master classes, and I learned that the Asian culture, and I want to specifically talk about this because I'm actually like pretty well versed in what's happening as far as music production and DJing in Asia right now. It seems like in their culture, they don't. It's slowly starting to change, but they don't really consider DJing and producing an actual craft, like a viable source of income. You know, they don't really see the, like you said, no monetary value in it. So my advice to those kids would be, honestly, just keep at it, keep making your music, try to have some sort of unique sound that stands out, and try to reach out to producers from all over the world. You know, don't just focus on one particular area, but just focus on all parts of the world, because you never know where your music is gonna catch fire, you know? And from there you can just possibly get some sort of management team and or some sort of representation that can get you out of from where you live to other parts of the world and possibly play shows. Now you have it a lot harder than a kid, let's say in the United States, that wants to be an aspiring DJ producer, but that doesn't mean you should give up, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't talk to your parents. And honestly, dude, what I would do if I was a kid that was living in a third world country, I would show my parents, like, hey, look at this guy. You know, look at Marshmello. You know, he's on the Forbes list. He's a multi-millionaire right now, this guy. And if he can do it, I can do it. And I would just show them a list of producers in the Forbes list that are making all this money and go like, look, this is a very viable way of making money. This is something that's real. And why do we have to be stuck in the past? Why do we have to keep having this antiquated mentality? Like, we can be like these people. You know, it doesn't matter that we're Asian or whatever, that we're poor. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, things are slowly starting to change. You know, we were just talking about this earlier with film, right, Mysterio? I mean, I know it's a totally different medium, but right now, people are going to the movies to watch minority actors in leading roles. I mean, like Crazy Rich Asians made a lot of money in the box office.
Oh yeah,
and
that
that's a movie.
It woke up people. It woke up the industry, and now you're seeing Aquaman is nearing 1 billion worldwide. And obviously, the lead actor in that, Khal Drogo, for Game of Thrones, I can't think of his real name right now, but he's not white. You know, people like Black Panther was one of the biggest. I think Aquaman is only trailing Black Panther now, and Dark Knight, and as far as comic book movies go.
Well, not to go off on a tangent, but the point is that now is the time in any industry for minorities, and this doesn't just apply to Asians, but everyone. And you know, if you're in the minority, now's your time to step up, rise above the occasion, and just really make moves and start making an impact. And I
Hey,
think that
listen,
applies
I
to the
mean-
music industry. Definitely.
For you saying this, not to open up a whole new conversation, a whole new can of worms, could you confidently say, though, that the music industry is there right now? Specifically our scene, because I'm not exactly seeing that yet. I mean, I'm still seeing, the biggest people making certain kinds of genres, Latin music, whatnot, isn't necessarily people from those countries.
Not necessarily. It's not their time right now.
Yeah.
But I'm slowly starting to see the change. It's a coming. And like, for example, the Latins right now, it's their time, right? The Latin sound and the Latin music industry is booming right now. But you know what? there's something we've both learned over the years. Everything comes and goes in waves. That's happening now.
2003.
This happened in 2003, and then it went away, and now it's back. But what's next? And that applies to electronic music. A couple of years ago, I'm talking about like 4 or 5 years ago, house music was really popular. I remember Disclosure was really popping, and then a year later, future bass became a thing, and then it was all about Odessa and Flume, and now it's about. I don't even know what it's about right now, but it's like every year or every 2 years, it's something else. And I think
you're seeing house come back now with G House.
Right, like G House is a thing now. I mean,
Yeah.
It's been a thing, but whatever. I think the tide is slowly going to start shifting, not just with genres, but with producers. The type of producers we're going to start seeing. I get hit up a lot by a lot of producers in India. There's a lot of talented producers in India. And the Indian market has been trying to infiltrate dance music for a while now. I mean, I know Sunburn Music Festival is one of the biggest electronic festivals in India for the last, 7 years. And they brought out some of the biggest artists to those festivals, but they're slowly starting to realize, hey, man, we have one of the biggest movie industries in the world. We can do the same thing with music. We can have in-house producers in our country become the next big thing. And some of these producers that send me their music from India, man, I listen to their stuff. I'm like, whoa. These guys are talented. I mean, for example, Bass and Beard, we're working on a collab with them now. They're from India, and they have 2 releases on Hardwell's label, Revealed, right now. And they've only been out for a year, these two. And I checked our promo email, and they sent us the demo that got signed to Revealed for Fight Free, and I passed on it like an idiot. I passed on that demo, and that demo eventually got signed to Revealed. And that just goes to show you, these guys, they're persistent. They kept going, and the doors eventually opened, and in a big way for them, because Revealed is a really good label.
Us turning them down was the best thing that happened to them.
Us turning them down is the best thing that ever. So you guys should be thanking us, and now we're collaborating.
Boom.
But yeah, I mean,
Shooter McGavin.
this is very interesting.
Shooter McGavin.
It's a very interesting time for real. I'm very curious to see who the next big producer is going to be. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone from India, or Jakarta, or China, or Japan. I don't know. It's
Shishi music.
anything. Shout outs to Shishi, but Shishi is in Indian American. I think he's first generation. He's also from India, but he lives in America. We're also working on a collab with him. See, the thing with us is that we collaborate with people from all walks of life.
All over the world. We don't joke when we say Fight Club's international. We ain't talking shit. We ain't jumping on trends. We really fucks with everybody around the world.
The club is international. The Fight Club is
India,
international. We
Holland,
we
Asia,
love everyone.
Japan.
We don't discriminate
China,
anyone.
All over Asia.
We don't discriminate. I mean, my hype man wears
Mexico.
a mask. He wears a mask. He would know about discrimination more than anyone.
I know a thing or two about discrimination.
This guy gets the oddest looks wherever we go. I mean, granted, he's wearing a piece of cloth over his face, but
You guys will get some more insight into that soon. We have a little a thing coming out, Mysterio Struggles. Look out for that in the gram, but I'm going to give you guys a little insight into my life. And,
Plug.
the struggles I go through.
plug away,
Quick
Mysterio.
plug. That's it. That's my plug.
Mysterio has a couple of interesting stuff in the works for our Instagram story, so you guys watch out for that. A lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, because I know some of you listening to this podcast may think we've been ghosting on our stories. We've just been setting some stuff up. We'll be returning to that real soon.
And some people never even watch our story. Some people
don't even
Some
care.
people don't even know who we are. Some people are just stumbling onto this, God knows how.
And some people aren't listening to this podcast anyway, so...
Shout outs to Candy, our boy Kevin. He supported our previous podcast, and we highlight him in that podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out, that one deals with sexuality in dance music culture. And, you know, it was cool to see him respond the way he did. And we didn't tag him or anything. We never tag anyone that we mentioned in our podcast.
It was cool. People to feel like we're trying to like piggyback off their name. Like that's not what these are about. You know,
we're not clout chasing here.
We're not clout chasing.
We're just like legit doing this for the love of the game. You know, we want to give you guys our insight and impart our wisdom and knowledge because we feel that it's valuable, man. And man, there's people that have like books. They make money off imparting their knowledge and their wisdom, right? People sell books. People have seminars and they make people pay for that. We're giving you this shit for free, man. This is like free stuff. You can just listen to a podcast on YouTube, on iTunes, whatever.
So what you're saying is we're pretty stupid.
Absolutely. We are morons. We should be charging you guys for this.
Idiots.
But on the real, we're going to cut this one a little shorter than usual, but we don't have any demos to play yet. Actually, I think I do have one, Mysterio. I'm gonna.
You know, there was somebody on here like, damn. I only tuned in to listen to the demo. I'm gonna
play.
Oh yes, they're gonna play one.
Speaking of up and coming producers from Asia, we have our boy Sedano. He is releasing an EP with us on Fight Free, and he's from the Philippines, and we're gonna see him in a couple of weeks. We're playing a festival out in the Philippines. And shout outs to him, man. He's an amazing producer. Goes back to what I was saying earlier. Not relatively known yet, but once we put this EP out, hopefully it'll open the doors for him. And I think it will because this EP is absolutely fucking incredible. And I'm going to play one song off his EP. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. Leave your feedback in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. And looking forward to the next one, guys. I'm SAV from Fight Club.
I'm Mysterio from Fight Club.
Over and out, guys.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Much love. Many blessings. Buena vibras.